welcome to today's video. In this video, we are going to be talking all things OpenDoor. So if you are curious about OpenDoor, wanting to sell your home to them specifically, I am going to be going over all the nitty-gritty details, everything you need to know from start to finish. I closed on my home on October 4th. It is now the 16th. So now that everything is all said and done and I have a clear picture of the entire process, that is what this video is going to be about. We are going to talk in detail about the entire process as well as fees at the end of the video, as well as final thoughts and my overall review on OpenDoor. So if you are curious and want to know more, then just keep on watching. All right, let's just jump on into this, and I am going to try and keep this as concise as possible because I have a tendency to ramble and I don't want to take too much of your time because overall this was a very, very simple and easy process. If by the end of the video you still have questions, anything I didn't answer specifically, please leave them in the comments down below and I will do my best to assist in getting you an answer on those questions. So selling to OpenDoor, you're interested. You want to know, like, is this too good to be true? What's the catch? What's going on? And I am here to tell you that it was an amazing experience. 100% would do it again. 10 out of 10 recommend. And yeah, I just had a really smooth process. Honestly, selling my home to OpenDoor was easier than buying my first home, refinancing, buying my car, and now I'm looking to buy another home where I moved, which is proving to be a pain in the neck. So overall, out of all of those processes, selling to OpenDoor was literally the easiest. Cake. So let's jump into the actual details. The first step to selling your home to OpenDoor is going to be going on their website and clicking on the sell button. You're going to enter your address and fill out some basic information, basically an inquiry form that they're going to ask you for some information. It's self-explanatory. And once you submit that, you are going to receive a preliminary offer email in your email inbox. I received my preliminary offer for $391,900, which is higher than I was actually expecting to get for the house, so I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that number. Now, don't be discouraged when you do see this number because they need to do the final evaluation of your home to get you that final offer, and things can, and in my case, did change. So don't necessarily be discouraged if the number is maybe lower than you were wanting. So once you fill out that form, you receive your preliminary offer. It's going to give you the option to schedule your consultation. So you go ahead and schedule that. It's basically a FaceTime video. I jumped on the FaceTime with the gal and she asked me some more questions, kind of just filling out, what I was looking to do. Just a little interview, nothing crazy. It took like max 30 minutes. After she asked me some questions and things like that, we did the FaceTime tour. So I took her around the whole house of just the interior. And at the end of the call, she said, if you're still interested in proceeding, then we'll go ahead and schedule your exterior inspection. I said yes. And all that you have to do is make sure that your gates are unlocked, that they have access basically to all areas of the exterior, as well as making sure your pets are put away. It was super easy. You don't have to be home. You don't have to do anything. I was home actually, and I did see the guy pop into the backyard, and he just was taking pictures, looking at everything. Super, super easy. And after that is complete, that exterior evaluation, which is like the second part, they say that you'll get a final offer within 3 to 5 business days, but I think I received mine within 24 hours. This is one thing that I really liked about OpenDoor, is that they were very quick with their processes. Like, they were on it. Everything was really quick and you weren't just like left around waiting. One of the other companies that I did submit this process with as well kind of took a while. And I wasn't in a rush per se, but it was just like, I don't know, I didn't like it. So I received my preliminary offer for $391,900 as mentioned. And when I received my final offer, it was $408,000. So that is why I was saying, don't be discouraged by the number that you initially received because the number can change. It can very well possibly go down, but in my case, it did go up by quite a bit of money. So when I got that final offer, I was like, girl, yes. I was very excited. And this is something I want to mention just because if this happens to you, if you are waiting on other things, then this is kind of an important part to know. So they sent me my final offer. When they send you the final offer, you do have only a certain amount of period of time. I think it's like 7 to 10 days or something to accept the offer. Well, I was waiting for one of the other companies to complete their process. I hadn't even had my interview with them, and my offer expired. And after that interview with the other company happened, they ended up telling me they did not want to make an offer on my home. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh no, like my offer expired. Like, what does that mean? So don't panic. Luckily, because it wasn't too much of time that has lapsed, I imagine if it's like 30 or 60 days, maybe you might have to start over. I'm not 100% sure, but for me, it was only like a week or so. I did not have to start over. I just went in my email and clicked refresh offer, and it refreshed the offer, the exact same, and it gave you, again, that short period of time to accept. So if that happens to you and you're like, oh my gosh, like the offer expired, don't panic. So I did refresh the offer, kind of gave myself just like a night to sleep on it, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it, and I accepted my offer. And that is when we jump into now the actual process of selling your home to OpenDoor, because you're obviously kind of committing to selling. Once you accept the offer, you have a dashboard that you log into, and it has some things that you need to fill out and complete. So there is some paperwork that you need to sign. I honestly don't remember what it was. I just signed it. It's just like, I don't know if it's like a contract or what. So just review it, look over it. And then it does ask you to fill out some more questions about the home. It asked me about like plumbing and just certain features of the home. And then you, at this point, will choose your closing date. So the awesome thing with that is you get to choose your own closing date. So you can pick anywhere from 7 to 90 days for your closing, which is awesome because obviously if you're in a rush and you're like, I need the money, I need to get out of this home, you can do it right away, close in 7 days and bada boom, bada bing, you're out of there. Or if you have time like I did, I kind of just scheduled it for 2 months out to allow myself time to kind of purge and have a garage sale, do donations, pack. Obviously, especially if you're working, it can be really challenging to get all of that done. So I highly recommend give yourself an ideal closing date and add 2 more weeks onto it. I promise you're going to need it. I chose 2 months out for my closing date, and you can change your closing date all the way up until like a week before. I think it's like a week or 2 weeks before closing. They'll give you a little, it's in your dashboard. So again, all of this is very user-friendly, very self-explanatory. It will tell you last day to change your closing date, and it has a date in your dashboard. So I didn't need to do that, but it is an option. Another thing that is an option as well is late checkout, which is super awesome, and I definitely wanted to take advantage of that. So OpenDoor does allow you to stay in the home for up to 7 days for free, because obviously when you close, they own the home. So they let you stay in it 7 days for free, and then you can stay longer, but you do have to rent the home back from OpenDoor, so you will have to pay money, and it's not particularly cheap, but if you do need like a day or two, it probably would equivalent to like the price of a hotel. So I chose to utilize that full 7 days, and they will take $1,000 deposit, obviously, because they want to make sure that nothing's getting damaged or changing with the home itself, which is totally understandable. So they do, once you complete your checkout process, they do refund you that $1,000. So I chose the 7 days. One thing that is a good idea is to take those 7 days just in case. I highly recommend taking a couple days. It doesn't have to be the full 7, but things happen, and I purposefully scheduled myself for those 7 days just in case anything were to happen, and some things did happen with my move, whereas if I was to need to be out on the actual closing day, I would have been like SOL. So I highly recommend just taking a couple of those days, even if you plan on being out earlier, if that makes sense. Sorry, to backtrack a little bit, one thing that I also want to mention that my sister recommended as a tip, which is was very good advice, is to schedule your closing date for a Monday. Don't schedule it for a Thursday or Friday, because when you close and sign all your documents and do your notary, just all the final stuff, which we'll talk about in a little bit, you have to wait for the deed to be transferred to get your funds. And if, say, it was a Friday and they don't get it done, you're going to have to wait through the weekend all the way till Monday. So my sister said schedule it for a Monday, so that way it's the start of the work week and you don't have to worry about that. Thought that was really good advice, so highly recommend. So for the checkout, the late checkout, or just like your closing actually. So they do recommend that you keep your utilities on for up to 3 days after closing. So I think they mean closing. I didn't know if they meant closing or like 3 days after you actually leave. So I just planned on being out. So my closing was on the 4th. I planned on being out on the 7th, but I didn't have to be out until the 11th. So I just left my utilities on till like the 12th or 13th, just different ones. I did a different time range. So also highly recommend you do that. Not only did they ask for it, but because of what happened with my move, I had to stay in the house. And if I would have canceled my utilities, that would have sucked because I would have been stuck in a house with no light, no water. You get my drift? But once you choose your closing date, whether or not you want to stay for those extra days and sign those initial documents and kind of fill out the information in your dashboard, at that point, nothing. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is wait and pack and get ready to move, and then it jumps to, 2 months go by like that, and it's time to close on your home, which is what we're going to talk about next. All right, so once all of those things are complete, now is just basically the waiting game. So if you are choosing a closing in 7 days, then this is going to happen probably right away for you. But if you are, pushing your move and closing date out a few months, like I did, basically it's just going to be pretty much silence throughout this process. They do match you with a broker who is going to handle the sale, which is, for me, it was OS National, which I believe is owned by OpenDoor. Owned by OpenDoor. And so you will get contacted by them through this like waiting period, and they'll have different things for you to complete. But again, it's very self-explanatory and very easy. I had an amazing experience with my my agent, if you will, the gal that was helping me from that company. She was awesome. And during that 2-month period, it's just silent, nothing is going on. But I did receive a couple of emails along the way that were just kind of automated that were saying, hey, everything is on track and good to go with your closing. If you need anything, reach out, which I thought was awesome because it's not just crickets. You are kind of getting little updates along the way. So once the closing was approaching, I had that agent reached out to me, and it was time to sign all of your final documents. So she sent me over the final statement with all the numbers, all the fees, the entire cost breakdown of everything. And once I approved of that, then she scheduled my notary appointment, because you do have to have a notary for like the sale. It was amazing. It was a virtual appointment. It was basically like a Zoom call. So you don't have to have anybody again in your home. You just you're there on Zoom. You have to put your hand up and kind of swear in, and they walk you through all the forms that you need to sign, which they do send you in advance as well to kind of review and pre-sign some of them, and then some of them you wait and sign with your notary. It was a very easy process, very self-explanatory. And yeah, once that notary was done and all the forms were signed, we were locked in, girl. It was time to close. I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. So then they have you, once you fill out those forms, they will send over the deed transfer, something like that. They basically have to transfer the deed. The city has to transfer it to OpenDoor from you. So once they do that, that is when they release the funds. So that was the one thing that my agent explained to me can take anywhere from 4 hours to 24 hours. It just depends on how quick they transfer the deed over. So luckily in my case, they did transfer it the same day, and I received my funds on closing day. But this is why my sister recommended you choose that Monday, because if it happened to just be where it was past the cutoff time, I would have received my money on Tuesday, which was totally fine. But again, if this was a Friday, you wouldn't receive them till Monday. So I did receive my funds. That was October 4th. I planned on being out on the 7th, but crap hit the fan. And I had the worst experience, the nightmare experience with U-Haul, which I am going to be filming a whole video about that entire experience and posting it probably in sometime in November. So things hit the fan. I didn't leave until the 8th. And on the 8th, because that was the day I was leaving, I went ahead and completed my closing process, my checkout process with OpenDoor. So you do need to go back into your dashboard when it is time for you to leave, and you have to complete all the photos that they ask for, as well as the leaving the key and extra keys and things in the house. So for myself, I left the garage door, any extra keys I had, any materials that were for the house, but it does mention somewhere I think it was in the dashboard, it says that if you are going to be leaving excess materials for the home, to check with your advisor, your OpenDoor advisor, just to make sure that you're not going to be charged for like removal of those items. So I didn't check, but if it is going to be anything of, substance, you might want to check with them. I left some spare tiles, some spare cabinet pulls, just different things that, were relevant to the home that I would think that they would appreciate having. So just want to mention that if you are planning on leaving a substantial amount of stuff, to definitely check with them first so that you don't get charged for them removing those things, because they didn't for me, but you never know. So the checkout process was very easy. I took all the photos that they asked for, and I highly recommend that you take more than one. I would say at least 3 per area that they're asking for. So they asked for the kitchen, the dining room, the living room, the backyard, the master bedroom, master bathroom, and the garage, as well as the exterior. So I highly recommend taking at least 3 photos. Cover all angles to cover your butt. And I highly recommend, which is something I did, so they don't ask for a video, but I took one final video when everything was out of the house, everything was empty. I took a video of the entire house and the entire outside of the house. I wanted to make sure that I documented everything, basically showing that this is how I left the home. So if anything did come up, it's basically, again, your own insurance. So once you submit those photos, they will have you they send you, so this is something I missed in the process. So during your closing period, where nothing is really going on, you will receive a box in the mail with a lockbox that you put on your front door that will hold the key when you leave. Totally forgot about that. So they will ask you to put the key in there, take a picture of it, and then you put it on your front door or wherever you're going to lock it up, and then they have you take a picture of where that lockbox is as well. So just different things that they'll have you complete through that final checkout process. It is, again, super easy. Yeah, so that's it, you guys. That was the entire process from start to finish. So we're going to go over fees now, and then we'll jump into final thoughts. Okay, so the very last thing that we are going to talk about very quickly, and I promise you this video is almost over, is fees. So I'm sure you guys are very curious about the fees and want to know the numbers. Let's crunch the numbers, girl. Let me show you everything. Or boy, I just say girl, it's a habit. So I'm going to put a screenshot up on the screen for you. This is a screenshot of my dashboard. So the numbers that you see here are not going to change. That is something I was nervous about. I was like, okay, are they going to tell me these numbers now, but they're going to change later? I don't know that they can legally do that, but I was concerned and nothing changed. It was all the same. So rest easy and knowing that there's not going to be any major surprises. So the offer, as you can see, 408-100, service charge 5%. Traditional realtors take 5 to 6%. So honestly, this is quite in line with it, and you're not having to deal with all the hassle of traditional selling. So totally awesome if you ask me. Repairs. So before you start this whole process and you want to sell your home, I highly recommend fixing anything you can fix yourself and getting the home in tip-top shape. That will prevent them from taking any money for repairs. And if they do decide to take money, you can ask them for an itemized list. I did not do that because I knew there were things that needed to be fixed and I didn't feel like doing it. So I just let them, I was like $4,400, whatever. If it was above $5,000, I probably would have been like, hey, what is that for exactly? I don't know if they allow you the opportunity to fix things and then maybe lower that number, but that is something you can inquire into if you would like. I just didn't because I was fine. I knew that there was things that needed to be fixed. Estimated closing costs, 0.6%. Ice machine. So that was $2,413, and that means I was estimated to net $387.93. I will say that the numbers don't change, but I think there were a couple of additional fees at the actual closing, like final process. So I think like the deed transfer. So like the deed transfer fee and just like random things. Honestly, I have no idea. I sent it to my parents and I was like, hey, can you guys look this over and make sure it's legit? And they did. I'm 33 and I was like, hey, mom, I need your help. And so, yeah, I just had them look it over. They said everything looked good. I will put it down below, like I'll put a PDF down below that you can check out so that you can kind of just like briefly like kind of see the structure and like how it was all broken down. Final thoughts. I loved my experience. I had an amazing experience. I highly, highly recommend OpenDoor. 10 out of 10, girl, maybe 15 out of 10. 5 gold stars. I could go on and on, honestly. The experience was so smooth, so seamless. They really, really did an amazing job at making it crystal clear and so streamlined and easy. I feel like selling a home could get complicated very quick, and somehow they figured out a way to just make it just so I keep saying easy, but it was just easy. They found a way to make it so streamlined and simple to where you're not confused and you're not having a ton of questions. And yeah, they just did an amazing job. I highly recommend OpenDoor, you guys. I would definitely sell to them again. And I highly, highly recommend that you check them out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, anything I did not answer that you are wanting to know specifically, please leave them in the comment section down below. I will do my best to get back to you. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will be filming my U-Haul nightmare experience sometime in November, so stay tuned for that. Whew, girl, that is a doozy. So, hope you have a fabulous evening or rest of your day wherever you are, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.